Hello students, welcome back. Today I am Anuradha from Art and Progressive School, going to start another topic of the same chapter that we were discussing in the last class, and the chapter name is Biological Classification. So in this chapter what we have discussed till now, that about the diversity, okay, and different methods of classification, and after that we have done five kingdom classification, and in that five kingdom classification the most acceptable one is the five kingdom one, and in that continuation we have completed or we are continuing for the Monera kingdom. Okay, so what we are discussing, the kingdom Monera, and we know that under the kingdom Monera we are having different members. So what are the different members? Like we have done about the archaebacteria, okay, then eubacteria, cyanobacteria, then bacteria, then after mycoplasma and actinomycetes. So all these comes under the kingdom Monera, and some are the similar characteristics among all these members, okay, but some slight changes are there. Otherwise, if I will talk about the Monerans, what are they? They are the prokaryotics as well as the unicellular. Okay, this is a key point about the Monera. Right, now we have done what is the characteristic of archaebacteria, as it is the primitive one and the U1 is the modern bacteria. Right, apart from that we are discussing the bacteria also. Okay, we are counting bacteria here. So we have done different types of archaebacteria. Right, now today we are going to study about the structure of bacteria. What do you understand by the structure of bacteria? It means that how the bacterial cell looks like. As we are saying that it is what? It is the prokaryotic cells. Okay, so we will going to start all about the reference of the prokaryotic cells. Right, so what are the features of the prokaryotic cells? The main feature is that it does not bear any nucleus. Okay, so that's why it is having the primitive nucleus, and that's why we are calling it prokaryotic cell. Right, so under that one mostly we are saying that Monera, they are the family of the bacteria. Right, most of the bacteria comes or we can say all the bacteria, these are under the kingdom Monera. Okay, so now if you will see the structure of the bacteria, right, so we have divided these structure into some parts. This bacteria cell, okay, if you know about the eukaryotes, okay, whether it is plant cell or the animal cells, we know that it is having what? Cell wall in case of the plant cell, and the cell wall is absent in case of eukaryotic cells. Right, or in case of the animal cells, but in case of plant cell the cell wall is present. So here if I will compare the bacterial cell, okay, with the plant cell, so what is going to happen? It is also having the cell wall, but the difference is that here the cell wall of the bacteria, it is made up of what? It is made up of peptidoglycan. This word is very important. So the cell wall of the bacterial cell, it is made up of what? Peptidoglycan. So here we can say that it is having the three different layers. Okay, so what are three different layers? The outermost layer. Okay, the outermost layer, what we are calling it? We are calling it glycocalyx. Okay, and inner to this glycocalyx, what is present? Cell wall is present. Okay, so the first layer is what? Glycocalyx, and the second one is the cell wall, and inner to the cell wall we are having the plasma membrane. Right, so all these three layers, they are acting like a protective covering of the bacterial cell. Okay, so we will start from the first component, that is the cell envelope. Right, so cell envelope is nothing, it is a combination of glycocalyx, cell wall and the plasma membrane. So all these three layers are forming the cell envelope. Now one by one we will understand that what is the function of each and every layer. Right, we know that as we are calling the cell envelope, all these are protective in nature. What are they? They are having the protection nature. Now specifically about the glycocalyx, again this glycocalyx can be of two types. Okay, when the outer layer is thick, okay, what I said, when the outer layer is thick, you will call it the capsule. Okay, when it is tough or the thick, you will call it capsule, and sometimes the outermost layer can be some wavy like structure, okay, some wavy like structure or the thin structure. That time we will call it slimy membrane, okay, slimy membrane or the slimy layer, right? So we can say glycocalyx can be of two types. Okay, now comes to the point that what is the composition of the glycocalyx. As it is the outermost layer of the bacterial cells, we can say that it is made up of what? It is made up of the mucopolysaccharides, okay, or we can simply write it polysaccharides. But now here question arises that polysaccharides are also present in case of plant cell wall, but that one is made up of cellulosic polysaccharide, right? But here in this case it is non-cellulosic polysaccharide. So what we can say that glycocalyx is made up of what? It is made up of the polysaccharides, right here. Then comes to the another part of this glycocalyx is that function. What is the function of this glycocalyx? As I am saying that it sometimes it can be the slimy membrane. It means that it is having some sticky nature. Okay. So apart from this structure like fimbriae, we will discuss in the later part that fimbriae is also there for the attachment to the substratum. Okay. If bacteria has to attach with any substratum, they are using their fimbriae, right? But along with this fimbriae, what they are having, they also possess the slimy layer. Okay, the slimy layer is what? Glycocalyx. So this is also acting like an attachment. Okay, so some function for the attachment will be done by the glycocalyx also. As well as the slimy membrane, it means that it is having some moisture retaining. Okay, so this is helping the bacterial cells from the desiccation. Okay, if there will be loss of water, so this slimy membrane, it is going to give some moisture. Okay, so likewise this is the protective layer for the bacterial cell, right? So now comes below to this glycocalyx. So if you will see the inner layer of this glycocalyx, what is present here? Cell wall. Okay, cell wall is what? Cell wall is the layer which is present between the plasma membrane and the glycocalyx. And here the cell wall is made up of what? It is made up of the peptidoglycan. And this peptidoglycan having two things. What are they? It is having the NAG and NAM. This peptidoglycan is what? NAG and NAM. So what is this NAG and NAM? This is we have done N-acetyl glucosamine and acetyl muramic acid. So the whole cell wall of this bacterial cell, it is made up of the chain of NAG and NAM. So what is happening? There will be chain of NAG, NAM, NAG, NAM. So like this whole chain is forming for the bacterial cell wall. Okay, so we can say that it is made up of the peptidoglycan. All these interlinking chain, what they are forming? They are forming the glycan. And what is peptidoglycan? Peptide relates to the amino acid and the glycan relates to the carbohydrate. Means that it is a combination of carbohydrates as well as the amino acids. Okay, so this is the part of the cell wall. Again, cell wall is a protective in nature for the plasma membrane. Right, so second part we have completed. Now come to the inner layer of the cell wall, that is the cell membrane or the plasma membrane. Now this one again will be similar for the eukaryotic cells as well as the prokaryotic cells. So what is the role of this plasma membrane? It is helping for the transportation. Okay, whatever the exchange should take place with the help of this cell membrane, and it is similar to the eukaryotic cells. Okay, and whenever we are talking about the cell membrane, what we are calling, for example, this is a bacterial cell. Okay, I am drawing only the innermost part, that is known as the plasma membrane, right? So this plasma membrane is double membrane. What it is? It is made up of bilipid membrane. What I said? Bilipid. It means that it is having two layers of lipid. For example, if it is two layer, okay, so like this, it is having two layer. This layer and the another one layer, this one. Okay, and we know that it is having one hydrophobic and hydrophilic. What is it? Hydrophobic and hydrophilic. And this outer part, it is what? Hydrophilic, and this one is the hydrophobic. Right? Now what is going to happen? That there will be protein. Okay, so there are some protein embedded in this bilipid membrane. So if I will draw this structure of plasma membrane, again the whole structure is made up of what? It is made up of two layers of lipid like this. Okay, it is made up of two layers of lipid. So all over look like it is. Okay, this is the bilipid membrane and here also bilipid membrane. So what is going to happen? So whatever things have to change, it will move inside the plasma membrane or inside the bacterial cells, and inside the plasma membrane, inside this plasma membrane, what is there? Cytoplasm is there. So we can say that it is having the bilipid membrane in case of plasma, whether it is prokaryotic or eukaryotic cells, right? But we have done in case of archaebacteria, what we have done, that it is having the single layer of the lipid. Right here, what it is having? It is having the single layer of lipids, right? So like this, we have drawn the bilipid membrane of what? Of the plasma membrane. So don't confuse this one. Again, what is happening? This part hydrophobic and hydrophilic like this you have to draw, right? Now again, inner to this plasma membrane, what is present? Cytoplasm. So again, another point is what? Cytoplasm. Cytoplasm, it is a jelly-like fluid inside the cell, and it is again similar to the eukaryotic cells. So what is the function of the cytoplasm? It means that it is embedding all the cell organelles inside it. Okay, so it is providing the matrix to the cell organelles, and we know that the cell organelles present in case of eukaryotic cell, but in case of this bacterial cells, they don't have any membrane bound cell organelles. Okay, so we can say that in case of this thing, they don't have any we can say they don't have any membrane bound cell organelles. So what are the membrane bound cell organelles? We know about the mitochondria, we know about the Golgi body. So all these are what? These are the things which are important for the cells, right? So all these things are absent in case of the bacterial cells. Now what are the other things which is present, and what is the different thing which is present in this bacterial cell? Okay, so now we have completed the cytoplasm also. So we are moving inner to the cytoplasm. So now what you can see here, there will be the infoldings in the plasma membrane. For example, this is a plasma membrane. So what is going to happen? There will be some infoldings. Okay, there will be some infolding, and I have shown this infoldings, how this structure. Okay, so these are what? These are the mesosomes, and mesosomes are what? These are the infoldings of plasma membrane which is happening inwardly to the cell. So what is the role of these mesosomes here? As you can see that these wavy like structure, always and always what they are doing, they are increasing the surface area, and we know that in case of bacterial cells, they do not have mitochondria. Okay, so what is the role of mitochondria? It is a powerhouse of the cells. It means that for the respiration, mitochondria is there which is storing the energy, as well as the energy storage, it is formed with the help of mitochondria. But here, as it is absent, so these mesosomes will act like a mitochondria in case of bacterial cells. So this question may be asked that what is the thing which is similar to the mitochondria in prokaryotic or in the bacterial cells? What will be your answer? It is nothing, it is the mesosomes. And what are the mesosomes? These are the infoldings which is happening inside the cells. Okay, now these mesosomes can be of different types. What are they? It can be peripheral mesosomes and it can be the central mesosomes. So here the name itself indicates those mesosomes which is placed at the peripheral end. Okay, those are known as the peripheral mesosomes, and function is what? For the respiration. So this bacterial cells is a living, and it also required the respiration. So how it will take the respiration? With the help of the mesosome. So this is the function of mesosome. And the another one is what? It is central mesosome, which is present just nearer to this what? Near to the genetic material. Okay, so and what is the function? Its function is happening due to the, or its function or its role during the genetic recombination, or we can say when there will be increase or the DNA replication, it is going to help. Right here, so what we can say, these mesosomes are very helpful in case of what? In case of the respiration, in case of the reproduction also. What is going to happen? For example, this is the first mesosome and this one is the another mesosome. Okay, like this plasma membrane is present. Okay, and here what is going to happen, as I am saying, when it is present nearer to the genetic material, what will happen? If it is nearer to genetic material, it will again form the mesosome. After that, there will be the binary fission. Okay, so this is one of the mode of reproduction in case of bacterial cells, that there will be the binary fission. So what is going to happen? This is going to help for the binary fission, or due to the reproduction, what will happen? It will get detached and it will make one bacterial cell and it will make another bacterial cell. Okay, as well as what it is doing, it is forming the cell wall. So we can say that it is also forming the cell wall, right? So these are the different characteristics of the mesosomes, right? Then comes to the ribosomes. Ribosomes are what? We have done this ribosomes in case of eukaryotic cells also. And this again becomes very important question, that what is that thing which is present both in prokaryotic as well as in eukaryotic cells? Answer is what? It is ribosomes. It is present in eukaryotic cells as well as in case of prokaryotic cells. So here, what do you understand by ribosome? For the synthesis of protein, and we know that protein is required for making the cell membrane, right here. So here what is going to happen? We are having different types of ribosome. Some ribosomes are what? They are the free ribosomes. Okay, they are the free ribosomes and they are present in the whole cytoplasm in the free manner, right? And some of the ribosomes, they are embedded in the plasma membrane, and these are the attached ribosomes. Okay, or we can say fixed ribosome. And along with this, we are having some chain of ribosomes. For example, this is mRNA, and here what is going to happen? There will be chain of, and we know that ribosomes are always present in the two subunits, larger subunit and the smaller subunit. Okay, so when there will be chain of these ribosomes in this mRNA, okay, like way, so what you will call it? You will call it polyribosomes. What is it? Ribosomes can be of polyribosome. So inside the bacterial cells, these free ribosomes can be there. Okay, and it is also making the protein, and you can see such type of ribosomes also in the bacterial cells, and it is known as the polyribosomes. Okay, so here something is present in some different types of bacterial cells, something is present in another different type of cells. So it doesn't mean that everything is present in all the members of the monera, right? So this is the ultrastructure of bacteria only, and some of the things can be similar with it and some can be dissimilar with it. Okay, so here these are what? These are the polyribosomes, and we know that in case of the prokaryotic cells, what is there? There will be the 70S ribosome. What is it? 70S ribosome, and two subunits, 50S and 30S. Okay, Svedberg coefficient is there, so you have to understand that in case of bacterial cells, what type of ribosome? 70S, right here. So this question is again becomes very important. Now comes to the very important part of any cell, that is the genetic material. Okay, so why? Because this genetic material contains what? It contains DNA. So when we are talking about the bacterial cells, it also contains genetic material, but the thing is that here it is not present inside the nucleus. Okay, we know that in all the eukaryote cells, genetic material is present where? Inside the nucleus, and that's why we are calling nucleus as a brain of the cells. But here in this case, you can see that genetic material is present as a naked. There is no nucleus. Okay, so where it is present? In a naked form, and when these genetic material present in the naked form, and this place is known as what? Nucleoid. Nucleoid is what? It is devoid of nucleus. Okay, no nucleus is present. That's why the space, okay, that area in which genetic material is present, so we have given the name nucleoid, or in some book you can see the gonophore also. Okay, so all these terms are very important. So what is going to happen? This is a nucleoid structure, and here the genetic material is present. So how the genetic material present in the prokaryotic cell? It is present in the circular one. So what is the feature here? I have written here that nucleoid is what? Is the place where genetic material is present, and it contains what? It is having the single circular structure. What it is having? It is having the single, you can see in the circular structure, right? But again it is double stranded DNA. Okay, we know that we are having this linear structure. This is the linear structure of DNA and this is the circular structure of DNA. So whether it is linear DNA or whether it is a circular DNA, both are what? They are the double stranded. But the difference is that here it is circular in nature, but in case of eukaryotic cells, they are present in a coiled form inside the nucleus. Okay, so what we are calling it? We are calling it the chromosomal gene. Okay, or we can say chromosomal genetic material, right? Because all the chromosome present here only as a single, right? As well as there will be absence of histones. If you will compare the genetic material in case of eukaryotic cells, all the DNA is packaged with the help of histone protein. Okay, but here in this case, there what will happen, that there will be no histone protein. Okay, no, by some packaging is there, but without the histone protein. So I am writing a non-histone protein, or there will be absence or there will be lack of histones in case of bacterial cell. Okay, so this is the thing which is associated here, and what we call it, we have called it the chromosomal gene, and this is the main gene, or this is the main genetic material of the bacterial cell. Now, along with this genetic material, it also contains one different type of genetic material which we are calling it plasmid. Okay, what is it? It is known as the plasmid. Plasmid is what? It also contains the genetic material, but here it's not the main genetic material of the bacterial cell, right? And what we are calling it? Plasmid, and it is also known as the extra chromosomal. What is it? Extra chromosomal genetic material, and this one is what? This is the chromosomal genetic material. Okay, so here what is the role of this extra chromosomal genetic material? Again, it is very important for the bacterial cells, right? So in some bacteria it can be present, in other bacteria it can be absent. Okay, so it doesn't matter that it is present in all the type of bacteria, but whenever it will be there in the bacterial cell, it is having very important role. First of all, plasmid is what? It is an extra chromosomal genetic material. Okay, it is also possess what? DNA, and again DNA is what? Circular DNA. What is it? It is also having the circular DNA like this. Okay, and it is also the double stranded, and if I will talk about the plasmid, it is having the two factors. What are they? F factor and the R factor. This one is again important for a NEET examination. F factor is what? It is known as the fertility factor. Okay, and this R factor is what? It is also known as the resistant factor. So plasmid contains these two factors, and the function of this F factor is what? What? For the reproduction. Okay, this again can be of two types, F plus and F minus, and this F plus can be act as a donor one and it can act as a recipient one, right? And we can compare this F negative factor with the female one and it can act as a male one. Okay, so if there are two bacteria, okay, and in case of bacteria also reproduction is there, right? So one of the method is conjugation. So during this method there will be formation of bridge like structure between two bacteria. Okay, so one will act as a F negative and one will act as a F positive. So what is going to happen? So whatever the genetic material is present here and as well as here, it is going to transform from F positive to the F negative. Okay, with the help of this method there will be the transfer of genetic material from this bacteria to another bacteria. So this can be helpful for the formation of bacterial reproduction, right? So it is showing what? It is showing the fertility factor. What is it is showing? Fertility factor, because it is associated with the reproduction. Now comes to the R factor. R indicates what? Resistant factor, and this we know that if we are providing any antibiotic for this bacterial cell, okay, it is very important that bacteria, they are secreting some enzymes, they are secreting some secretion for protecting their bacterial cell. Okay, so this secretion will be secreted by what? By this plasmid, because plasmid having the resistant factor. Okay, so whenever we are providing the antibiotic to the bacterial, to any specific bacterial cells, so this plasmid is going to protect the bacterial cells because they are having some resistant gene which is going to make it resistant from all these antibiotics, and they will not be able to attack the bacterial cell. Okay, so this is the thing which is associated with the plasmid, and there is very important role of this plasmid in the genetic engineering also. Okay, so we are using this plasmid there as a vector. Okay, so here we have completed about the plasmid also, nucleoid also, right? Then comes to the another one which is known as the chromatophores. Chromatophores can be present in some bacteria or can be absent in other bacteria. For example, these are present where? In the photoautotrophic bacteria, where there will be the chlorophyll pigment. Okay, so for the photosynthesis, what is required? Because we know that inside this bacterial cell they do not have any membrane bound cell organs like chloroplast. Okay, which is present in case of eukaryotic cell, in plasmid cell, but here as it is absent, so there are some chromatophores at the plasma membrane which is going to act like this, we can say the pigment formation, as well as it is helpful for the autotrophic bacteria. Okay, that's why it is only present in the photoautotrophic bacteria, or we can say cyanobacteria, right? Then comes to the flagella. Again, flagella can be present in some bacteria and it can be absent in other bacteria. For example, in case of cyanobacteria, it is absent. Okay, so here flagella is what? Flagella is responsible for the mobility. Okay, flagella is responsible for the mobility of the bacterial cells. So how it is going to happen? Again, this flagella having three different parts. What are they? It is having basal part, hook part and filament. Okay, basal part, it means that from where it is connected. Okay, from where it is connected, it's the basal part, and that hook like structure, which is made up of the spherical structure, it is known as the hook, and this long slender structure which is longer one, it is known as the filament, right here. And due to the movement of this flagella, this bacterial cells will also able to move, right? And this can be present in some of the bacterial cells, right? Then comes to the pili and fimbriae. Again, very important role of this pili and fimbriae. We know that if you will see the structure of fimbriae, they are somehow bristles like structure. What are they? Bristles like structure. And pili is what? It is a tubular in structure. It is longer in length. But the number of pili, they are less in number and as compared to the fimbriae. Okay. So fimbriae are more in number but shorter in length, and pili are they are less in number and larger in or longer in length, right? And they are tubular and they are the bristles like. So function of these one is what? We have done that the function of pili is what? During the reproduction. Okay, so when there will be formation of the conjugation tube, so with the help of these things there will be reproduction. So what is the function of this fimbriae? As I have discussed in the starting only, that all this glycocalyx, they are also helping for the attachment, as well as this fimbriae having the very important role for the attachment to the substratum. Okay, so wherever the bacterial cell is going to attach, it is attaching with the help of these fimbriae. Okay, so they are the different parts of this bacterial cell. So we have completed all the parts here. Now again question arises that we have done different classification system. Okay, we have classified the bacteria on the basis of their shapes, on the presence or the absence of flagella, or if flagella is present, so how many number of flagella are present. So on the basis of that we have done different classification of bacteria. Now another classification of bacteria which is happening in the presence of the staining or non-staining. Okay, so on the basis of staining, we have categorized the bacteria into two types. What are they? Gram-positive bacteria, and another one is the gram-negative bacteria. So what is the gram-positive bacteria? We will understand. See here, as I have discussed, this is the bacterial cell. What I said, that in bacterial cells, for example, first of all, this experiment done by the Christian Gram. Okay, so what he did, according to him, he stained two different types of bacteria. For example, he started that he grows the different bacteria in different petri dishes. Okay, now from here, with the help of inoculation needle, they have taken the bacteria in slide A and slide B. So what I have given name here, slide A and slide B, right? So from this culture they have taken some bacteria in the slide A and get type A of bacteria and type B of bacteria. We don't know anything about these bacteria. Okay. Now once if we have taken, we have done some experiment on these slides. So what we did here, we have treated both the slide with the crystalline violet. Okay, what we have used, crystalline violet, and due to the treatment of this thing, what happens that it will change into the blue color or the purple color. What will happen? Or we can say purplish blue. So it will the bacterial colony which is here, all they are the blue in color. Okay, whether it is A type or B type. But again what he did, listen, then after that again he treated these A type of bacteria and B type of bacteria with the iodine 1. Okay, with the help of what? With the help of iodine or potassium iodide. And how much quantity he took? 0.5%. Okay, so 0.5% he took the iodine solution and he treated with it. Now after treating with the iodine solution, okay, after treating with the iodine solution, what happens in case of A type bacteria, it take the stain. Okay, so it retained the stain, and after that, after the treatment with the iodine, we have washed with the alcohol also. Okay, so what happens that with the help of this one, it stained its color to the blue color, and after taking the blue color, okay, again we have treated with the iodine solution, and after treating with it, what happens that when we washed with the alcohol, it retained its color. It means that whatever the bacteria we are getting after the treatment in this part, what are they? They are having the blue in color. Again they have retained their blue color. But after the treatment with iodine and washing with alcohol to the B type of bacteria, what happens that they will become colorless. It means that they will become colorless, right? So all these bacterial cells which you are watching here in the B type, they becomes the de-staining or decolorization. So why it happens so in case of B type of bacteria, and what we are going to call it, right? But as they have decolorized themselves, so again in case of B type experiment, what we have done, again we have used the counter stain. And what is the counter stain? Safranine. Okay, because if it is a transparent or if it is a decolorized, we will not be able to see these type of bacteria. Okay, so what we have done, or what he did that time, he again treated these bacteria with the help of safranine, as it is a counter stain. So all these bacteria will become red in color. Okay, so what is going to happen here? I am showing with a different color. So these B type of bacteria, they will become red in color due to the treatment of the safranine. So what you have concluded from this experiment, that the first type is what? It is a gram positive bacteria. What are they? These are the gram positive bacteria, and this one is the gram negative bacteria. Okay, so now what you have understood, that from the gram positive as well as gram negative, you cannot say only staining. You can say that yes, in case of gram positive bacteria, they retain the stain, and now here they will become the colorless. So why it is happening? So because again we have to understand the composition or to the structure of the bacterial cells, because we know that both are the bacterial cells. Okay, so if I will draw two types of bacteria, this is the A type of bacterial cell and this is the B type of bacterial cell. Okay, so how it has retained its color, how he lost the color? Because we know that outer to the cell membrane, it is having the another layer which is known as the cell wall, and here also it is having the cell wall, right here. So cell wall is present both type of bacterial cells, but here if I will talk about the bacterial cells, okay, if I will talk the bacterial cells in A type, here it is thick in structure. Okay, so the bacterial cells which is present here in the A type, it is thicker. What are they? They are more thicker. But if I will talk about the B type, they are less thicker. Okay, or we can say they are the thinner one. Only with a single thing I have drawn. So what is happening in case of B type? They are also having one more layer. What is it? What is it? There are having one more layer which is made up of the lipids. What are they? They are the lipids. So we can say outer to this cell wall there is having one more layer in case of B type. Okay, it is having one more layer which is made up of the lipids. Now what is going to happen? First of all, when you treated this A type bacteria with a crystalline violet, so very easily they took the color. Okay, it has also taken the color. But when you have washed this outer membrane, okay, when you have washed this bacteria with the alcohol, what happens that this one, whatever the color which is there in this membrane, this outer membrane, it will get washed off. Why? Because it is made up of the lipids, and we know that whenever lipid is present, it is not going to retain the color. What happens that due to that it has lost its color. Okay, whatever the color it has taken, it lost its color, and after that what happens, it will become colorless. Why? Due to this waxy layer, or we can say lipid layer, which is present only in the B type of cells, and they are providing resistance to the bacteria. Okay, I will make you understand it how it is happening. So for your understanding right now, what you have understood, that in case of A type, it is having thicker cell wall. Okay, and due to that it has taken all the stain very easily and retained it in their membrane. Okay, but in case of this thing, outer to this membrane, there is another membrane which is made up of the lipid, and it is responsible just to take the color, and after washing with the ethanol, it will get removed. Okay, it will become decolorizes, right? And now it will become the transparent one. Okay, so till here we have completed and we have identified it. Those who are retaining their color, they are the gram positive and they are the gram negative. So what is the function? What is the function? We are saying that these gram positive are what? They are non-pathogenic. It means that most of the bacteria which are non-pathogenic, they are the gram positive. But this gram negative bacteria, these are very harmful because they are responsible for causing the disease. Why it is happening so? Because whenever we are providing the antibiotic, okay, if someone get ill with any, or it will attack with any bacterial disease, what happens? We are using the antibiotic. So if we will provide the antibiotics to these gram negative bacteria, so this membrane, okay, this membrane is going to be very resistant. Why? Because it will not going to enter this antibiotic inside the bacterial cell, and if it will not enter inside the bacterial cell, it is not going to attack the genetic material, it is not going to kill it. Okay, so it means that they are providing resistance, and due to this resistant, antibiotic will not work, and for these type of bacteria we need more powerful antibiotic. Okay, but in case of gram positive bacteria, mostly they are non-pathogenic, but if somehow it will be there, or if some bacteria they are causing the disease, still they will not be able to live. Why? Because if we are using any antibiotic, so easily it can attack the bacterial cells and it will kill the bacterial cells. Okay, so it is easier to kill this gram positive bacteria, but it is very tough work to break down this bacterial cell which are the gram negative bacteria. That's why the most of the disease causing bacteria, they are the gram negative. Okay, so the question will be asked, what is the difference between gram positive and gram negative bacteria? The gram positive bacteria, they are having the thicker membrane of the cell wall. Here it is thinner one, and in case of gram positive bacteria, there will be no lipid membrane. In case of gram negative, there will be a lipid membrane. One or two more important points are there. That is, in case of this gram positive bacteria, it is having the teichoic acid. Okay, what it is having? It contains the teichoic acid, but in case of gram negative bacteria, this teichoic acid is absent. Okay, another composition is what? Muramic acid. Muramic acid, this is also present in case of gram negative bacteria, but the concentration will be more. We can say 70 to 80% of muramic acid present in case of gram positive, but in case of the gram negative bacteria, this muramic acid can be only 10 to 20%, right? As well as what can be the another difference? Gram positive, they are non-pathogenic, and in gram negative bacteria they are mostly pathogenic, or they are causing the diseases. Examples, we all know that gram positive are what? Lactobacillus, that's why it is not causing any disease, and the gram negative bacteria are Vibrio. Okay, xanthomonas. So all they are causing the disease. So they comes under the gram-negative bacteria. Okay, so here we have completed about the structure as well as the classification of bacteria on the basis of their staining, right? So that's all for today. Thank you.